Hi everyone, it's that time of year again. It's time to start seeds indoors. Today I'm going to share with you mistakes that I've made when starting seeds indoors in the past, why they're a problem, and how to avoid them. Because I want you to be successful with your seed starting from the get-go. And that way you have strong, healthy seedlings to plant outside in the garden when the time is right. So let's begin. First of all, why start from seed and why start indoors? The first reason why is because it gives you a head start. Instead of waiting for warm weather to start your seeds outside, you'll start now inside. That way, when warm weather comes around, you'll have little seedlings that are between 4 to 12 weeks old that you can get planted out in the garden, which means you'll be harvesting your own homegrown vegetables sooner. Another reason why it's a great idea to start your vegetable garden from seed is because it's going to save you a ton of money. Transplants at the garden center are $5 to $6 a plant. When you grow from seed, you can grow dozens of plants from one seed packet, saving you a ton of money in your vegetable garden. An added benefit is there's tons of varieties you can grow when you start from seed, and you're not just limited to what's available as transplants from the garden center. Plus, it's just plain old, personally satisfying when you plant a seed, watch it grow, and then harvest it and eat it. Mistake number one to avoid when starting your seeds indoors is don't use your garden soil to fill your seed starting containers. Now, garden soil might seem like a budget-friendly choice, but it's just too dense and heavy and will really restrict the seedling's germination. And it also could contain disease and insects. The pathogens could harm the delicate seedlings, and you definitely don't want to bring the insects indoors. I've stepped inside to show you how to avoid the mistake of using your garden soil as seed starting mix. What you want to do instead is use a mix that's specifically designed for starting seeds, like my DIY seed starting mix. Now this is nice and light and fluffy, so it'll help your seedlings germinate easily, and it has coco coir, vermiculite, and worm castings, which is the perfect blend to help with water retention, soil moisture, and the Vermistera worm castings are nice and light, easy to spread, contain the nutrients that your plants need to get off to a really good start from the get-go. Plus, they contain a lot of probiotics, which helps protect your plant from disease. There's a link in the video description that tells you exactly how to make my DIY seed starting mix. Mistake number two is starting your seeds too early or too late. Timing is everything when it comes to seed starting. When you start your seeds too early, you have overgrown seedlings that have outgrown their containers and get stunted before it's warm enough to put them outside in the garden. On the other hand, if you start your seedlings too late, you don't have nice, healthy, strong seedlings that are ready to plant out in the garden when the weather gets warm. How you avoid making this mistake is to make sure that you know the last frost date in your area. You can go to almanac.com and put in your zip code, pinpoint that date, and then count backwards the appropriate amount of weeks to start that crop. If you live in a frost-free area like we are here in Southern California, you want to start your warm weather vegetables about 8 to 10 weeks. For cool weather vegetables, you can start seeds indoors for those now, or you can plant them outside in the garden in those frost-free zones. So the key is to hit the timing right and to find that sweet spot for each vegetable that you're starting. So about 12 to 15 weeks prior to your last frost date, you can start your onions, your perennial herbs, perennial flowers. About 8 to 10 weeks prior to your last frost date, start your warm weather vegetables, such as tomatoes and peppers that we started on last week's video, eggplants, and about 4 to 6 weeks prior to your last frost date, start those quick growing vegetables like beans, cucumbers, and squash. I'm going to start some bean and squash seeds today. And while I do that, I'll talk about mistake number 3, which is planting seeds too deeply. Now, the reason why this is a problem is seeds have a limited amount of energy. When you plant them too deeply, it's like they have too heavy of a coat of soil on them, and they just don't have the energy they need to push up through the soil and germinate. So the general rule of thumb is you want to plant the seeds at a depth about twice the diameter of the seed. So they're barely covered with soil, have enough moisture, and can easily push up and germinate and break through the soil easily. Mistake number 4 is overwatering or underwatering. And the reason why this is a problem is if the top of your soil dries out where your seedlings are germinating, most likely they're not going to germinate. And after they sprout and grow, the soil dries out, they can get stunted and die. So that's definitely a big problem. However, Overwatering can be just as much of a problem. It can lead to all kinds of fungal disease, insect issues, root rot, and can also cause your seedlings to die. To avoid making this mistake, first off, only water when your plants need it. Start with pre-moistened seed starting mix, so your seeds have the moisture they need to get off to a good start, and just spray the top of the soil each day until they germinate. When the top of your seed starting mix is a light brown color and they're lighter in weight, it indicates that they need water, and at that point you switch to bottom watering. So the plants will soak up the water from the bottom, have the moisture that they need. It's a healthier way to water. After they've sat in the water for about 10 minutes or so, you can pour off the water to avoid root rot and other fungal issues. Now, because we'd like to provide you with all the resources that you need to get off to a good start, we've got an entire watering video that you can watch so you know exactly how to water your plants effectively. Mistake number 5 is ignoring temperature needs. Now, the reason why this is a problem is because different vegetables have different temperatures that they prefer. And if you're growing them indoors at the wrong temperature, it could result in poor germination or no germination at all. For example, warm season crops like peppers, tomatoes, and eggplant germinate best in temperatures between 65 and 80 degrees, whereas cool season crops like lettuce prefer cooler temperatures to germinate between 60 and 75 degrees. An easy way to avoid this is to use a heat mat for warm weather vegetables to provide them an even bottom heat for quick germination. For your cooler weather vegetables like your greens, your cauliflower, and your broccoli, you don't need to use a heat mat. Just put them in a spot in your house to germinate where it's between 50 and 75 degrees. Mistake number 6 is insufficient light. Now, why this is a problem is because light is your seedling's energy source. If they don't have a good source of light, it will result in spindly, leggy seedlings that won't be strong and healthy by the time it's ready to plant them outside. Now, you might think you could use a south-facing window to start your seedlings in. And in my years of experience, I've come to realize that it's just not enough strong overhead light to really optimize your seedlings' growth. Avoiding mistake number 6 is easy. Get yourself some grow lights set up. If you're going to take the time to start seeds indoors, it's well worth the investment. So we're going to put our seedlings here under the light. These are warm weather vegetables, so we're putting them on a heat mat. And super important, you want to put them no more than 2 to 3 inches away from the light. So as soon as your seedlings emerge, they have good direct overhead light and they grow nice and strong and stocky instead of stretching towards the light and growing weak and spindly. If you're intimidated at the thought of getting grow light set up, don't be. It's quick, simple, and inexpensive. We've got an entire grow light video so you know exactly what to do, and it's all written down in my book, Organic Gardening for Everyone. Quick overview here. My first setup is just a simple shop light, and we've got it clipped here, suspended from 2 milk jugs filled with sand with a PVC pipe to give it some stability. The second setup is super easy, a simple clip grow light. You can get at any hardware store. It works well for one single tray of plants. And then you can move the clip light up and down the PVC pole to adjust it for the growth of your plants. If you're growing a lot of seedlings inside, you can use a third setup here, which is shop lights on a shelf. So you have plenty of room for all your seedlings. And you can put shoe boxes or blocks of wood under your seedlings. You can adjust the height up and down as your seedlings grow, keeping in mind that at all times they should be no more than 2 to 3 inches away from your grow lights for optimal growth. Leave your grow lights on 18 hours a day, 6 hours a day off, and you definitely want to set up a timer to avoid forgetting. That way you just set it and forget it. By avoiding these indoor seed starting mistakes, in about 6 to 8 weeks, you're going to have some beautiful, strong, healthy vegetable seedlings to plant out in the garden after your last frost date. You'll be so glad you did. Comment below. I want to know what seeds you're starting this week and what you're excited about for your spring garden. I can't wait to read your comments. Head over to CallieKimGardeningHome.com. You want to grab my books, Organic Gardening for Everyone and Raised Bed Gardening. Some great resources in there, including a chart that'll be super helpful for you in your seed starting. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video.